Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, I'm Dave. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Staten Island. We're so glad everybody's joining us, both in person and online. For those in person, just remember to wear your masks as long as you're not up here talking. And and if you're wearing your mask, you can sing the hymns and all that. You're also maintain social distancing as well. You're all invited for a coffee hour. We have coffee, tea, snacks, etc. after the service. Also, this is kind of a new thing. At 1 p.m., there'll be a meditation spiritual growth circle in the library. So after the physical food, you can hopefully get some spiritual food back in the library, which is just where you came in this morning. For those online, please, you can say hi, introduce yourselves in the chat, and stick around for the virtual coffee hour in the comfort of your own home. I think I covered everything, except please silence your cell phones if you haven't already. And let's prepare for this morning service. Today we have Tattfoo Tan joining us. I'll give a more proper introduction later, speaking to us about magic. And because of that, the opening words from William Butler Yeats are as follows. The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper. And now I invite you to join me in lighting our chalice. You can find the affirmation in the order of service. Light this chalice in the search for truth and the spirit of love. We unite in worship and fellowship. And as an extension of lighting our chalice, I want to take a moment of silence to light these candles for some of the names of those who have recently been affected by a police brutality. We cannot cover all of the names of those affected, but this morning we light a candle for the life of Kashawn Thomas, for the life of Dante Cottrell, and for the life of Christopher Kelly. May these lights be a symbol of our commitment to continue the work of racial justice and to proclaim that Black Lives Matter.
Please turn now in your great hymnal to number 346. Come sing a song with you. Let's stand and sing.
Sing a song with me, and I know
So now is the time in our service for joys and sorrows. If you're with us for the first time today, now's a good time to introduce yourself if you'd like. For those in person, we invite you to raise your hand and stand where you're seated. I'll give you the microphone, which I think I left. Is it on that? Sweet. All right. I'll give you the microphone where you can share your joy or sorrow. We invite you to share whatever's in your heart. And those online, we invite you to type into the chat your joys and sorrows. I'm not sure if Sally or Eric is reading them aloud. We also invite you to share whatever is in your heart. Where's my mouse? Sarah.
Good morning. I'm Sarah Rachel Walters. I actually have an announcement. Unfortunately, we're not going to have another Jolly Holly Fair this year because of COVID. So we're going to do what we have done for the past 2 years and have a card. So if you would like to get your name in the card, and the card goes out to all members of the church, you will be getting an email soon. You can send in a check or through PayPal, $40 donation, and your name will go in the card. Please put that it's for the Jolly Holly card. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Hi, my name is Rose. I'm asking everyone to send messages, energy to my son Daniel, who lives in Texas and has to make a decision whether or not to leave Texas and move back to Staten Island or stay in Texas. As far as his job is concerned, he can clearly come back to Staten Island. So I hope he makes the right decision, which is to come to Staten Island. Just help me to send energy towards Daniel in that faraway place in Texas to come home. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose.
Hi. I just want to make an announcement and say happy birthday to my husband. He's turned it's a big one, the big 7-0. So it's a biggie. And he enjoyed his lobster dinner last night. So that made him very, very happy. And we also won money in a casino, which paid for the dinner. So that was pretty good. So that was pretty cool. But we didn't win Powerball.
Nice. Happy birthday, Kevin.
Good morning. My name is Mary Campbell. I'm a longtime member of the church, and I wanted to introduce my friend who's with me today, Douglas, who it's his first time here.
Welcome, Douglas. You never hand up.
Staten Island is a much cooler place to be.
He said if you started in Austin, Staten Island's much cooler. All these hands. I'll go in ascending order.
Hi everyone. My name is Nicholas Henmont. Nick. I have a couple friends that came here a few years back. I went with them and just looking for some community.
So I'm sure you all know my name. The Houston Astros won the World Series last night. What a historic World Series. A combined no-hitter, a great catch, and Dusty Baker finally winning his World Series win, and Justin Verlander and Jose Altuve, both two-time World Series champions. And I'm not done yet. If you haven't voted yet, get out and vote. Today's the last day of early voting. You have till 5. Election day is Tuesday, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's important. We must make sure Lee Zeldin does not take control of the state, and we do not elect dangerous, fraudulent Malliotakis back into Congress. And hopefully best for the Yankees next year, as long as we hopefully re-sign Judge. Sorry about that.
Hi, my name is Laura Martacci. I'm a longtime member and a longtime absentee. I wanted to share a sorrow and a joy today. And my joy is that my sister, who has been in a long-term 30-year abusive relationship, had to have her husband removed, has finally gotten a divorce decree and did not have her house taken or any of the things that she so well deserved were not taken from her. And it's been a very long period, and I'm just so overjoyed for her. My sorrow is that while this is happening, my mother is very quickly spiraling into dementia. So I've been in Pennsylvania a lot for both of my family members, and I just wanted to share that with the congregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura and Louis and Nick. Well, we'll do Michael first. He's closer.
My name's Michael, and I haven't first time here at the church in a while, and I just want to share a joy that today is my partner Laura's mom's birthday, and she's coming over for dinner, and we have a pot roast in the oven, and so that makes me happy.
Hi, good morning. Hi, I'm Chris. My joy is just to kind of want to recognize our worship guild committee, and just to refresh for everybody, when we had a full-time minister was always here 3 Sundays. So we always were able to kind of supplement our missing Sundays, usually a committee, back in the days when we had bunches of committees and stuff. And we changed when we had a part-timer that our worship guild was creating 2 services every month. And then with COVID, it became even more of a burden, a joy and a burden on our worship guild to create our services. So I just want to say hats off to our worship guild, who have been tirelessly working for years to create services just like the one Dave is creating for us today. And I just want to say hats off to our worship guild.
Thank you. Or the one Tattfoo is creating for us today. But yeah, thank you, Sally. Chris.
Hi, my name is Sally, and I have a joy. I have a new partner in tech, Eric.
Wow, everybody is going for it today.
We're talkative today. Kevin and I wear another hat during the week as, what will we call ourselves? I guess founders, runners of the Staten Island Philharmonic. We have a great concert coming up next week. There's 2 purposes for it. One is to honor our local heroes. If you have a local hero, and I have about at least a dozen, bring them with you. And if you let us know ahead of time, we'll announce them during the concert. We'll recognize them. Other thing, it's a concert of all composers of color. So probably people that you haven't heard of before, but it's great music. And it's free. So come on out, JCC, 3:00 next Sunday.
1466 Manor Road.
Thank you. Your hand up right now? Oh, yeah.
Hi. I also have a mitzvah or a fun thing on Sunday, which is a party for my opening of my new studio, my art studio. So please, you're all invited to come by. It'll be indoor, outdoor in my rear. So I have a little notice if you're interested. And if you come after the concert, you can do that too. All right.
Thank you. Anybody else in person? Maybe I'll just as sorrow. My mother has been diagnosed with cancer, so she'll begin her treatment pretty soon, breast cancer. And so you can keep her in your thoughts, prayers, send good vibes, etc. Louis has one more thing.
I went during parade day this recent March, when Nicole Malitakis saw me, and I'm serious, she went like this to me, like that. It's important. No, Max is not a great candidate, but we gotta have him back in.
Sally or Eric, do we have anything from online folks?
Well, we just had a note that we've been putting the camera around and it's been a little shaky, but we'll put it back in a stable spot. We're just trying to show you everybody who's been talking. Thank you so much.
All right. So thank you for sharing your joys and sorrows with us, and for those held silently in your hearts. Now, for all the joys and sorrows we've heard today, and all those that go unspoken, we're grateful for being able to share them in community. Let us now enter into a moment of silence and reflect on the joys and sorrows we've spoken, and on the ones left unspoken but carried in our hearts this morning. May the words and the silence we have shared remind us that no matter our joys or sorrows, we are not alone. May it be. So the reading for today, which Tattfoo selected, is from Pliny the Elder's Natural History, which is actually the largest single work to have survived from the Roman Empire to the modern day. And Pliny said in his Natural History, quote, "Incorporating medicine and religion, Magick made a further addition of astrology, because there is nobody who is not eager to learn his destiny or who does not believe that the truest account of it is that gained by watching the skies. Accordingly, holding men's emotions in a threefold bond, Magick rose to such a height that even today it has sway over a great part of mankind." I like that historical. I've never heard that perspective, but sway over a greater part of mankind. And now is a time in the order of our service where we take an offering. We know it's your gifts that help us support our ability to thrive and gather. For those attending in person, we invite you to drop your offering in the basket that will be passed. For those online, links and instructions will be posted in the chat. You can mail us a check or donate through the PayPal giving page on our website. Please give as generously as you can. Our offerings will be gratefully received. Thank you.
up to you and me. All right, turning your great hymnal to number 313. 313. Oh, a piece of work for me.
Thank you, choir. Before I introduce Tattfoo, did everybody get a piece of paper? Tattfoo provided not only our programs, but you should have a 8.5 by 11 paper with a little drawing on it, some letters. Maybe everybody got it. Mary's coming around if you don't have it. You have pens and pencils? Cool. All right. I think we're good. Oh, okay, good. We had one person is getting their materials to make his or her sigil, which Tattfoo will explain shortly. And we're so privileged to have Tattfoo Tan with us again. I believe this is your third time, right? Once in person, once on Zoom. When we last heard from Tattfoo, his life journey had taken him from being a graphic designer to an artist, focusing on issues relating to ecology, sustainability, healthy living, and finally inner transformation. His focus on inner transformation led him to the point where he now describes himself as being more of a mystic than an artist. And that said, he's currently engaged full-time in the study of Sanskrit and Latin to be able to read ancient spiritual manuscripts in their original languages. And I can attest to that. I've been to his house and he has Sanskrit all over the place. And I guess Latin is a recent addition, so I'm sure we'll see more of that as well. And you can visit his Instagram account at Tattfoo, that's TATTFOO, to access his notes from today's talk. So without further introduction, Tattfoo, thank you for joining us today. We're so grateful to have you.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahavriyam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, neighbors and friends, for coming out today. So my name is Tattfoo, as you guys already know, and I'm an artist. So the perspective of today's talk is through my perspective. As what we know that my life has different kind of stages somehow. And I see that it's kind of a wonderful thing. It's constantly changing as how the weather is today super hot and tomorrow might be really cold. It's interestingly, I'm also exploring various paths. Being an artist, I like to do some, trial and error to see which one fits me the best. So I'm dabbling in various modality that calls to me. And apparently, I am really into collecting old books, old manuscripts. Sometimes I couldn't afford them, so I have to collect the PDF version, which is available widely on museums and other collections. They digitalize everything. So a lot of all these old texts just re-emerging, like as if like climate change, they will say that, old stuff will emerge, right? Like recently there's a drought, and then there's some sculpture or like some sculpture from the river that started to emerge. So all these manuscript that has been locked down in private collection started to emerge everywhere. So that is one of the curiosity or the point where got my interest in magic, because all this supposedly forbidden stuff has been locked away because they are precious. Now it's available. And since the pandemic, a lot of people also learning different languages. That also, I guess, why I was learning Sanskrit. And apparently Sanskrit is very close to one of my mother tongues, which is Malay language. And it has that connection that feels very homely to me. And once I learned Sanskrit, I discovered that the other cousin language is Latin. So now I'm venturing to Latin because I think that I can do a little bit of shortcut because the system is the same. So I'm not relearning new things, and Latin is Roman script. So I'm not relearning another new script. So I was like, oh, might as well just do it, while I can. So with that knowledge of Latin, hopefully I can, read the original text even more. So that's where I came in from. And of course, all the diagram and stuff in the magical papyrus or manuscript is in my forte as a graphic designer. I design logos every day for people. So it's basically things that I like to see and collect and maybe took inspiration from. And that's where I came from. And so talking about languages, I see Mary's shirt says namaste, and a lot of time people would translate namaste as in like the light that in me see the lights, as in you. Probably a lot of people go to yoga studio, they'll translate that. And I probably believe it too, but since I spent 2 years full-time studying Sanskrit, it basically means I bow to you. So te is you, namas is bow. So it's as simple as that. So it's interesting. A lot of time, this meaning are lost or being embellished. So the greetings that I just read, the Om Sahana Vavatu Shanti mantra is basically a peace mantra. And you can say it's a spell so that, we are all gathered here, and it translates as together. May we two move together. May we two relish together. May we perform. May what has been studied by us be filled with brilliance. May it not give rise to hostility. Peace, peace, peace. So I always like to explain the original meaning of it so that it is not lost in translation. At least now you know that it is something that is positive, other than just some sound that you do not know. You should take everything that I say it as a story on my perspective, because until you can confirm it yourself, nobody has the perfect picture. We all have bits and pieces. I think it's the same with all these different modality or tradition that we study. They don't have like the ultimate truth, but bits and pieces that we can piece into ourselves through our own lenses. And reality is really a mystery, right? We can't really understand it. I don't think it will ever be understandable. That's why it's magical. So one of the first magic that we should see is the magic of the world. We somehow, when we wake up, if we see a rainbow, it gives us joy, or color. Sometimes when I'm sad, I have these color books that I keep. I just flip through a couple of pages of colors. It just brings me joy instantly. And so there is different things that in the world that we've been influenced, but we do not know. That the other thing is that, like in our body is kind of a magical, because we do not know what's going on inside us. And it has this automation that's going on. When we eat food, the food just automatically dissolves itself and it converts into energy. So all these things, you can see it as science or magic in some way, or an entity who is processing it. So that's two ways to look at magic. If magic is real, then this world, the reality that we see here should be an illusion. Because if you think this pulpit is solid, then it is like what it is, what we see. But if you think it's what, like Jonathan last month said, that it is full of energy, pulsation, then, if possible, we can put our hand through it or maybe transform it, So that is the idea of magic, so that the inner code of the program, or at least look at it. In in my study of Sanskrit, like one of my professors says, now I'm in this, has different stage Sanskrit. Like, so what we usually study is called classical Sanskrit. And then the next level you can study, like what I'm doing currently is Panini Sanskrit. Panini is just a grammarian of the Sanskrit language. So my professors told me that if you study Panini, you are not really studying Sanskrit, but you are looking into the engine of Sanskrit. So you are taking out all the codings of either of the languages and making sure how they are, how it works, you know, without really, so you are not really using the language, but you are building the language from the base up. So in that way, it's interesting for me. I think magic is like you are sending in a type of program in the bigger program to reprogram the program. So you are looking into the inner working of the world. But overall, I am a non-dualist, like Jonathan. So in some way, magic conflicts with my interests, my belief. We are all storytellers, I believe. Whatever we are, whoever we are weavers of our own story. That's why we have our what you call that, the hero's journey. You know, in modern media, we have that in Disney movies like Star Wars, Harry Potter's, you know, the Sandman. They all have influence of magic in them. That's why I think magic never really dies off, because it is part of our calling, part of how we are as human. And it is the fabric of our life that we are weaving every day. But in our daily life, we put on persona, you know, we put on a mask. We have to perform a certain task, and then we put on that mask. Sometimes I'm a student, sometimes I'm an artist, sometimes, you know, I am devoted to know the truth of the world. And so one of the components of magic is sound, and sound is really important. That's how the way you talk is through sound and through the microphone. The meaning of sound is the one that we just did, the mantra that we just did just now, the Om Sahana Bhavatu. So man is mind, tra is the instrument of the mind. So if you recite that mantra, it's basically an instrument to influence your mind. And it's interesting that way, that sound is really important in doing magical works. The other thing connected to mantra is yantra, which is the diagram, right? So individual deity has their own diagram, /yantra/logos. It's the instrument of reaching. So to reach the deity, you can look and meditate upon the diagram of the deity. And that's connected to the sigil that we are going to do. If you are talking, you are already doing magic. So magic is not something that you have to learn, you are born with it. So when you talk something really angry, you know, or cursing someone, you actually, you know, putting sharp energy into the world, and that hurts the other person. And if you sweet talk someone to charm someone for a date or to get a better career, get a position, you're already doing magic in some way. So doing spelling is just like spelling in the magical terminology. You know, you do a spell, you conjugate words and spells. The world is made out of sound. There is a saying in Hinduism is Shabda Brahman. So Brahman is the universe, or God is made of Shabda, sound, vibration. And in the beginning, there is the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, John 1:1. So everything is vibration, is sound. And in related to that, a book that usually magicians use to write down all the spells is called a grimoire, and it is grammar in French. In this deity, Kali, you probably know, probably not. Kali is this deity that is in the more angry form. She has Dwi Panchashat Munda Mala. So she has 52 skulls around her neck, and that skulls represent the 52 alphabet of the Sanskrit Devanagari script. The idea is that when she dissolute or destroy or collapse the world, what she save or take away is the sound of the alphabet, because from the sound, she could rebuild a new one. And I thought that was very symbolic. And one of the one of the best kind of symbol of magic is the abracadabra words. And in Hebrew is abracadabri. It means I will create as I speak. And I like the idea that it comes in a top-down triangle, like a funnel, because it's about reduction. So you put a lot of words in it first, and then you reduce it, and you reduce it, and then you reduce it, and then finally just one. The reduction is really interesting. I think it is really need to be practiced in our life, like minimalism and stuff like that. But the reduction concentrate the energy. So finally, it become almost nothing. It's almost like the homeopathy that Mary's practice. Like she puts a object or a substance inside water or some other solution, and then dilute it like 1,000 times. So there's no substance there anymore, but the power of the substance is still there, the energy is still there. So that's kind of a magical idea that we have. As a non-dualist, like all this thing is I don't know, it's you don't do all those stuff, it's about doing stuff, non-dualist just being. But we can also look at it in a different way, because in this non-dual and shunyata Buddhism philosophy, they're around 2,000 years old, but shamanism and magical practice is way older. So it's an older set of human thinking compared to the newer progressive way of thinking. So they come from two different paths, and I think I should respect both paths and try them on. But for me, the world is still non-dual. It is actually two sides of the same coin. Living and dying is still one, and we are not just multiple people in this room, but multiple bodies from the same consciousness. We don't have the same mind, but kind of consciousness that through our mind and perspective is the same universe that is pervading everywhere. And I am as a new interest in language, I will try to have my own perspective on languages. I blame languages for our non-duality, because for me, having learned languages tenses with the present and past and future that switch our mind from an animal state to a human state, because now we started to get the idea of time. Time no longer eternal. Time is eternal, it's a constant now. But with languages, we see time as a linear. So in some way, the fruits of the trees of good and evil, in some way for me, is languages. We took the bite of language and we became mortal. Again, I want to remind everyone, Jonathan's talk the other month. God is an intelligible sphere, and the center is everywhere, and whose circumference is nowhere. So in some way, like a zero. So 0 times 1 is still 0, 0 times 2 is still 0. And whoever thousands of beings in the world is still 0, because everything belongs to Brahman. Savam Kaivalam Brahma, all this is Brahman from the Chandogya Upanishad. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Existent consciousness infinity is Brahman. So all these are Mahavakyas that we have. And for me, still that we as human is still a case of mistaken identity. Name and form is all what I call the NPC, the non-player characters. In this movie, The Free Guy, if you have seen, Ryan Reynolds is basically discovering who he is. He wakes up every day doing the same thing, and he's questioned why he's doing the same thing. For me, that is a very nice movie to talk about the non-players character that are derived from the video game. So magic. So when Sigil say magic, there is the stage magic, the illusion, pulling the rabbit out of the hat or card tricks. But the magic I'm talking about is theurgy. It's basically the operation and effects of supernatural or divine agency in human affairs. So there's divination, perception through time and space. I'm also have deep interest in tarot, and because also connected to little paintings that I could collect. So I collect those stuff. Divination, and you have psychokinesis, basically force of will, psychic ability, allowing a person to influence physical system without physical interaction. And theurgy, spirit work, mediumship, channeling, near-death experience, and manifestation. And through all these things that you are doing, there are a couple of power sources, like the batteries, like would you use petroleum, or would you use sun energy? or wind energy. So that is the will of mind, your own energy, your life force. Probably not that good idea if you will drain your own life force. And there's also entity or elemental that you need to do some exchange with it. Or the other one is through CD. So I think the CD is through people that has achieved enlightenment. So they no longer see the world as separate from who they are. And if you want to read more about people that has CD, is to the book Autobiography of a Yogi. And it has basically like a travel log / people with superpower. So in some way, it's very fun to read at it. So it depends on whether you want to believe it or not. But it's basically a travel log. And then you can see, oh, these people can bilocate, meaning that they could be here and there. Or they could, float and be really light and different things. So all these are CD's powers. And there's also, if you want to do exchange and things like that, there's a thing called the genius, right? The genius in Latin is a protector, a guardian spirit who governs an individual through life. And there's also daimon. In the Greek, it refers to a lesser spiritual spirit. And that's where the word eudaimonia came from, the state of good spirit or happiness or welfare, living in harmony with your daimon. So in artists, I'm sure we have all our own daimon, our inspiration, like you know that you want to do a painting or a sculpture, somehow you get it, it's not really you're just a vehicle. So that's your daimon inspiring you. So in the Chinese word, inspiration is called lingan. Gan means feeling. Ling is basically the spirit. And the pictogram is basically the top part is the symbol of rain. And the middle is 3 square, which symbolize a cup. And the bottom part is symbolize sorcerer. So there is a sorcerer praying or doing magical ceremony with 3 cups on an altar praying for rain. So that's the pictogram for the Chinese word spirit. So I always loved that word since I was a kid. So as a non-dualist, I think that we should just be, and the dhatu, the root words for be in Sanskrit is us, and it's very prominent in our conversation. And you don't want to go to karoti, which is kr, which is the other dhatu that we use a lot. But in magic, you have to do stuff. You cannot just be. And I think it's interesting where magic are being looked at in modern lens as something negative, but all the major religion in our world came from performing magical ritual. That's where it came from. And today we're going to do 2 simple idea of ritual. We're going to do one, but one I'm just going to explain it to you and how this religion are being formed. So one is called Sigil, what we're going to do today, and the other one is called a servitor. Maybe I should talk about servitor first and then sidetrack back to Sigil, because Sigil is easier. Servitor is harder to do. No, let me think. Maybe do Sigil first because they are connected. Okay, do Sigil first. So Sigil is basically a yantra that you do. So you have a piece of paper that you have. It's just a sample that I have for you, and you can write your intention in the present tense. So basically, my example is that I'm a great artist. So you have to be confirmed, like very, very, very stern in your languages. So I always compare this with political slogans or slogans in advertising, Yes, we can. It's not a good mantra because it's like, yes, we can. It could be a question, can we? It's not like, it shouldn't be like that. So write your intention, whatever your needs or your desire is in the present tense without using want, wish, and will. Be realistic. Don't say that I want to fly and stuff like that. Like be realistic, be precise and brief, as little words as possible. And then the next thing you want to do is to take out your vowels and repeat the consonant and repeating consonant. So any vowels in there, you delete it. Any repeating consonant, you delete it. And then you create the sigil, basically whatever words that you have left, you can do a design and you surround it with a circle. So that's what we can do here today. And then when you go home, you can activate the sigil or consecrate it with an empty mind in a state of ecstasy or right after meditation. But in the tradition of sigil, it's right after you ejaculate or when you have sex, when you get high the most, or when you can get high after some drugs infused state. And then you can burn the sigil or bury it or do something like that. So we can try that in a few moments. The next thing that we're not going to do here today is how to create a servitor. So a servitor is basically a thought form. So as an artist, there's a book called Thoughts Form by Annie Bassett and C.W. Leadbeater. This is a recent republication. It's basically nice pictures of, so sometimes you say that you're consumed by anger. It's because angry is not you. Like the thought forms consume you, like it is a separate entity. So you sense the anger and it consumes you. So thought form is basically trying to paint a pictorial version of an entity, of a feeling that you can't say it. So a servitor is kind of like that. So you are creating a separate entity from you. You are giving this entity a mission. You are going to name it. It's very important, naming things. Just like in grammar in Panini, naming is super important. And in my tradition, where I grew up, Taoism, when I was a kid, I have my official name, but we don't use that because we want to use a nickname in the daily conversation, because the supposedly evil spirit will get you if they know your official name. So you're going to use your nickname so that they won't get you. So I think I'm sure that, if you're a magician, you want to have a magical name, because that is how you can protect yourself. The name shouldn't be associated with any real or fictional character. You shouldn't call it, the Superman or things like that. You have to be original, non-associative, and unique. And then you can describe its appearance. How it looks like creating a Pokemon or something like that, So how it looks like, does it has no hands, multiple hands? Does it looks like a snake, or does it fly? So you have to make an appearance. You have to create a call word, like a command, like a word, like a unique call word, like a unique sign, a unique sound. And you can find a spot where they're going to live in the real world, whether it's in your personal body or in an object. And you say the entity going to live in there, and how you're going to, and you're going to describe the internal living space of that entity. Meaning that if it's in a jar of a glass bottle, let's say it's going to live inside here. You're going to describe what is inside here. Inside here doesn't mean it's this small. It could be the universe. So you're creating an inner universe within a real object. So that's what I'm trying to do. And then you're going to create its lifespan, how long it will live. And then the nourishment, you need to feed it. Whether it's you're going to sing to it, you're going to play a musical instrument to it, you're going to feed it with some sort of nourishment like food and stuff, and then you're going to create a sigil for that. And if you look at all this point, that what I have just mentioned, this is a creation of a deity. And recently, I'm studying different deity from the Roman pantheon and to the Greek pantheon, and I was putting in who's their parent, who's their consort, what is their look like, and I definitely has to draw them out so that I can remember the way they look and their association to their powers. It's basically you're creating a deity. A servitor is a minor deity. And for me, if a lot of person putting energy in that words or the same deity, that deity become huge. It has power. It's just that everyone putting energy in the same power bank. The power bank will be beautiful. That's how religion are created. And then in activation time, you do the same thing. You activate it, you address it, you look at the sigil, you call his name, and then you explain the mission to the servitor, you blow at the object, and then you let it run. It's an automation. So that's how we pray to the deity or gods in the different religion. So let's do the Sigil maybe for 5 minutes. And while everyone is drawing and things, other people can ask questions. Yes, it has the instruction of.
So can you explain to the people who are online?
Yeah, so people online, the links will have the instruction, what I have explained in words, and you can download that through the Dropbox link. And for people that doesn't have the Dropbox links, maybe you watch it in a later date, you would go to Instagram, tattfoo.com, at Tattfoo, and then in there, there's a link, profile link, and you can download it on that site. Thank you.
Tattfoo, should it be like the statement, I will, or I am?
I am, not will.
So if the letter Y is the vowel, like then Y is acting as a vowel, you get rid of the Y then?
Just A-E-I-O-U.
So we keep
Y would be considered a consonant then. Yes.
So I should use words like and instead of have, right?
And have.
I am or I have.
I am. Yeah.
And when it comes to descriptive words, should it be in present tense or past tense?
Present tense. Yeah. So whatever you wish to have, you don't say you wish to have, like you said, like I'm getting balls. So I don't say that I wish to have more hair. Like I would say, no, my hair is full, short, like precise. Yes.
Did you study in India?
So my Sanskrit and my Vedic knowledge came from different people. So I have a guru here in the States that taught me a lot of Vedic, philosophy, Advaita Vedanta, and other practices. And then the Sanskrit is through online platform called yogicstudies.com. Yeah.
Have you been to India?
No, I never been to India. Yeah. Yes.
Well, is it true that you could potentially get someone else to activate your sigil and still get it to work? You
No.
have to activate.
You have to activate it. Yeah, whoever who wrote it has to activate it. Yeah. So all this exercise is not really you are becoming a magician, is to let you see in the world there's a lot of things that is kind of like a magic, but we don't realize it, like a logo, and I like even a political what you call it, like a party could be a type of influence on us. So everything that you do, like double think, are you being duped? It's like not by some malevolent like bad entities, but it's just how the world works. How we human. When you're a teenager, you get horny. Like that's how that's how the world reproduces. You're actually being duped by nature. So, but you want to be conscious of what your even your body or nature is. Yes, Jonathan.
Do you have lesson marks on your example?
So in the end of the sigil, once you put all the reduced consonant in them, you can add on embellishment. You can add flowers, stars, anything you want. Yeah, those are my embellishments. So you can do more circles or radiance, anything you want to add on it. After you finish like the core part, you can embellish it. You can fill it up. Yes.
Well, and also isn't kind of the point that it's not about doing it right, but more like art. It's about sort of expressing your intention, then like getting it mechanically perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just now you know the idea first is that you're in your mind next time, whatever you want, you don't want to say I want something, like I am something. You have to be, because whatever you want means you're lacking, right? So if you're lacking, you'll continue lacking. So you have to be like, if you want money, you don't want to say I want money. You say I'm rich. And then money will come, sort of. That's the idea, And then when you do the sigil is to charge your mind of this logo that you put into your mind, your own psyche. It's not really something else going to help you, but you yourself is going to help yourself, but unconsciously. Yes.
People talk about manifesting. Is this the same idea? What people say today is manifesting.
Yeah, those are different, a little bit different idea. But the sigil is more related to religion than manifesting. Manifesting, they try to wash it to be like non-sectarian, what you call it, like non-religious in some way. But doing a sigil is a type of magical things that religion is practicing. So basically, a cross would be a sigil, So so all those are sigils up there, because it represents a certain thought form. So when you look at the cross or look at the yin yang symbol is basically a representation of an energy. Yes.
How many of these can you do in a week or a year?
Yeah, do how many you like, and then make sure you forget about it. You don't think about it all the time. That's the magic. And then one day you'll be like, wait a minute. It will come back to you. Then whether it works or not, then you'll know. All right. Looks like everyone is good. If there's no more question, is there more question? Yes. Michael? Yeah, so a thought form is basically an entity. Like you are creating a whole being, a thought form that you are putting energy into it. So you're putting it's like your, what you call it, like when you're a kid, you have some people has a imaginary friend. Same idea. So
Working with that, something, the thought form that is fiction or something you want to create. If you're working with something you want to release, or you're working with something you want to grow inside of yourself.
So a thought form is basically your minion. So a thought form is not something you want to create or you want to interact. It's basically your minion. Basically, you don't have like a maid in the home, but rich people has like, people, the driver, like the private chef. So this thought form is basically your minion. So if you want your house protected, create this thought form and says your job is to protect the house while I'm out. And this is how you look like with a lot of weapons. With big eyes, can see everywhere, and you're going to do this for 3 months while I was in vacation in Hawaii, and you create this thought form, and then the thought form will say you're going to be 3 months, and after that you'll disappear, and yeah, that's what it is. So thought form is basically your minion.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Sally.
Yeah, so many young people got so involved with Harry Potter and with they're now in their early 20s or something like that, and also with stories about updated Greek gods and goddesses, Richard Riordan series. Do you think that they plugged into something here that because they're all about magic and about gods that we has tuned into who are of different generations?
Yeah, I guess the magical thinking is in us human. That is innate. That's what I'm saying. It's innate in us, and all these deities or magical practice is no longer needed in modern times because we have medicines. We are protected. We have like people not going to rob us or kill us, or there's not a lord that, like a king that who's going to take your child away or conscript you to become a fighter or take your daughters to be his concubine. So all those kind of things that's needed is no longer needed. So in some way, magic kind of like no longer needed as a practice, but all this kind of magical thinking is fascinate us as human. And of course, a lot of the writers pick those up, and a lot of writers are themselves like I forgot what's her name, but the professors that wrote the discovery of a witches. She's like a professor, and she knows a lot about all this as a historical historical stories. And then she wrote the discovery of witches, which is like a young adult novel, has been made into a TV series. And I love the TV series. I haven't read the actual book yet, but it's like it's like something that being re-emerged or reused or rehashed in a modern form. Yeah. Okay. Close the talk. Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone for having me.
Please turn in your keel hymnal to number 1068, Rising Green. And let's rise and
Thank you to the choir and thank you, Tattfoo. I invite you now to join me in extinguishing the chalice. You can find the affirmation in our order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Already went out. Imagine. Right. And now our closing words are from Roald Dahl. And above all, watch with glittering eyes the whole world around you, because the greatest secrets are always hidden in the most unlikely places. Those who don't believe in magic will never find it.